Good morning class. Today we are going to discuss about proteins and classification of protein. So students, earlier also we have studied that protein, in the formation of protein, amino acids are the monomeric unit. Now let us talk about the basic definition. So it is the most abundant biomolecule found in living beings, okay, and they are present in almost all part of the body and serve as the basis of a structural and functional unit of life. You have to remember this, as cell is also the structural and functional unit of life. Similarly, protein is also a structural and functional unit of life, okay, and they are essential for growth and protection of body. Their chief sources are milk, cheese, pulses, nuts, meat, fish, etc. Okay. Now students, again the same thing is given here also, that is the sources of protein. So talking about the source of protein, animal proteins, it can be obtained from animal protein like milk, eggs, cheese, meat, fish, etc. And also it can be obtained from plant protein like different pulses, kidney bean, soya bean, etc. Okay, now let's talk about the classification of protein. So students, we will see the classification on the basis of chemical composition. This will be the first classification. So on the basis of chemical composition, it is divided into three. The first is simple protein, the second is conjugated protein, and the third is derived protein. So students, if you will go in the names, you will be clearly known about them. Simple proteins, that is these on hydrolysis give alpha amino acid. So these are simple proteins. Example like albumins, globulins, and students, glutenins are also soluble in dilute acid and alkalis. Okay, talking about histone, so histone are soluble in water, dilute acid and slat solutions, and is found in nucleic acid also. For this, histone is important because it is found in nucleic acid also. Our next lecture will be based on nucleic acid, okay, and these are not so that much important. Now students, let us see about the conjugated one. So talking about conjugated protein, so on hydrolysis they yield alpha amino acids and a non-protein part. That means they yield a protein part also and a non-protein part also, okay. That's why it is called as conjugated. That means students, one will be protein part, that is alpha amino acid, and other will be non-protein part. Then next chain will be protein part, then non-protein part. So you are seeing a conjugation. That's why it is called as conjugated protein, okay. And students, in conjugated protein, simple protein is attached to a non-protein part. That's why it is called as prosthetic part, okay. And examples of them are like this, you can see here, like nucleoproteins. So this is important because it is composition of nucleic acid and protein, where you can see nucleic acid is not a protein and the second composition is protein. And there are so many like lipoproteins, so it is a part of lipid and protein, okay. And there are many more example like hemoprotein. So there is a heme group and after that there is protein, okay. Now student, let's see the third one, that is derived protein. So derived, you can better understood from the word also. So derived protein are obtained by partial acid alkaline or enzyme hydrolysis, okay. It is not the true hydrolysis, it is partial hydrolysis which is done via the action of alkalines, or you can say partial acids, or enzyme hydrolysis, okay. And their examples are proteoses, peptones, and polypeptide. This is important students, sometimes it is asked in exam, give the names of derived proteins, okay. So here you can see it is protein, then proteoses, then peptone, then polypeptide. Polypeptide one is the smallest. Now student, we will see the classification which is based on molecular structure. So depending upon molecular structure, you can see fibrous protein, globular protein. So talking about fibrous protein, fibrous, the word define itself, that is protein which are made up of linear thread like molecule, and these linear thread like molecules are fibers, okay. And these molecule polypeptide chain are held together with H bond and disulfide bond. Here the main thing is that जो इनमें जो बॉन्डिंग होती है वो H बॉन्ड होता है और डाइसल्फाइड बॉन्ड से ये क्या होते हैं, फॉर्म होते हैं, ठीक है, लिंकअप होते हैं. and basically they are insoluble in water but soluble in strong acids. वाटर में insoluble होते हैं और strong acids में soluble होते हैं. Very best example is the keratin. Keratin, students, which is skin present in our skin, hair, nails, etc. Collagen also, which is present in bones, cartilage, and elastin, which is a tissue and ligament. Okay, now students, let's talk about globular protein. So if we are going to talk about globular protein, you can see here globular protein are those, okay, which attain spherical shape and polypeptide are held together with relatively weaker H bond. So here you will see a weaker H bond and they are held together by polypeptides, okay, and they are soluble in water. So you can see the difference here, that fibrous are not soluble in water, that is insoluble in water, and globular are soluble in water. And for talking about their examples, so pepsin, which is secreted in stomach, is a best example of globular protein. Insulin, which is secreted from pancreas and regulates the metabolism of glucose. You know, insulin is very important. And there are gamma globulin. Hemoglobin is important, which is present in blood and transports oxygen. Okay, now students, let's move to next. So here you can see the brief classification. So whenever you are going to classify proteins, you will classify them on the basis of two: the first classification, okay, and the second classification. Second classification was based on molecular structure, and first classification here you can see based on hydrolysis. So which give alpha amino acid are simple amino acid, which gives protein and non-protein are derived proteins, and which gives protein and non-protein part are conjugated, and derived proteins are basically which are derived from partial hydrolysis. Okay, now students, talking about structures of protein. So when we are going to deal with the structures of protein, so their structure can be given in four ways: primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, and quaternary structure. Talking about primary structure, students, so protein are constituted by one or more polypeptide chain, and in each polypeptide chain a large number of alpha amino acid are arranged in a specific sequence. So before also, when I have shown you the classification of amino acids and also the structure of amino acid, there I have shown you that suppose gly, LS, so these amino acids are linked together. So primary structure is based on this linkage only. Okay, now you can see here clearly, here you can see the diagram, they are the primary structure of protein. Here it is the primary structure of protein. And talking about the normal hemoglobin molecule, which constitute 574 amino acid unit. Okay, and if the sequence of even one amino acid is changed, the molecule become defective and person gets affected with a disease called sickle cell anemia. So it is not asked in your examination, but it may be asked. Okay, because as vitamin part is removed from the syllabus, so it can ask what is sickle cell anemia, what is the disease caused, why sickle cell anemia is caused. Okay, now you can see the structure, primary structure in case of normal hemoglobin, so valine, histidine, leucine, etc. and in sequence. Talking about defected, so you can see where is the defect, here it is changed. Okay, now students, let us see the secondary structure. Again you can see the primary structure, so this is the linkage of the amino acids. Now talking about secondary structure, so secondary structure, long elastic polypeptide chains are coiled to form relative rigid structure. So here what will you will see that there will be a formation of a rigid structure. Okay, rigid in the sense that is elastic polypeptide chain is there and it is coiled up. What I am saying, you can see here, it is basically coiled up. Wait students, here basically what happens, there is H bond formed between carbonyl and amino groups. Okay, there is a formation of H bond between carbonyl and amino group. So here you can see there will be a alpha helical structure and a beta pleated sheet structure. So this one is the alpha helical structure, okay, and this one is the beta pleated structure. Okay, talking about alpha helical, so if an alkyl group is bulky, then oxygen atom of CO carbonyl group 1 amino acid form H bond, and H atom of NH group form amino acids of fourth amino acid. It leads to coiling of polypeptide chain. So here you can see there is a coiling, you can see here it is coiled up. coiling of polypeptide chain. So this is the alpha helical structure. It may ask in your exam, it generally asks in exam, give the alpha helical structure of protein. And this is the beta pleated sheet structure, students. So here what happens in the beta pleated sheet structure, the alkyl group is relatively smaller. So here alkyl group is smaller. You can assume it directly seeing them, and in this structure 2 segments of polypeptide chain come close and get linked in this order zigzag sequence. Okay, and in this structure oxygen atom of carbonyl group of all the amino acid form H bond with H atom and NH group present in front of it. Okay, that is, there is the formation of H bond and an NH group is present in front of it. Thus in both segment amino acid unit are in front of each other. So in every segment you will see that amino acid group are in front. So here you can see, here is also amino acid group, here is also amino acid group, here is also amino acid group, here also. So they are always in front of them. Okay, so this was the beta pleated sheet structure. It is generally seen as keratin, fibroin, etc. Now students, let's talk about the tertiary structure. So this is the tertiary structure. So in tertiary structure, basically you can assume it with the 3D structure. So polypeptide chains are folded to form 3D structure. Okay, here polypeptide chains are folded to form a 3D structure. Okay, they will form a 3D structure. Now students, talking about the quaternary one. So some proteins have 2 or more than 2 type of polypeptide chain known as submit or promoter. These promoter may be same or different, held together with H bond and electrostatic, or you can say van der Waals force of interaction. And quaternary structure of protein refer to the number of promoter and relative interstitial arrangement. Thus at this level protein are multimetric and these molecules are quite large and complex. So these molecules are basically very large and complex. So here you can see this is the structure of quaternary. So when in a reference, when you have to give the structure of the 4 protein, that is the primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary and quaternary, so you can give in this manner. This will be for primary structure, this will be for secondary structure, this will be for tertiary structure, and this will be for quaternary structure. Okay, now students, okay, some time is left. So here you can see the denaturation of protein. It is important because basically let us understood what is denaturation of protein. So students, the process in which physical as well as biological properties of protein are changed is called denaturation of protein. Okay, so basically what happens, their physical and biological properties are changed, that's why they are called as denaturation of protein. And how this denaturation is done? So suppose if protein solution are heated or treated with acidic, basic or salt solution, and also, or it can be treated with organic solvent, they get coagulated or precipitated. This is called denaturation. Okay, and here is the characteristics of denaturation. You have to only understand the students that in denaturation secondary and tertiary structures of protein changes, but primary structure remain unchanged. Okay, you have to remember this point, that is secondary and tertiary structure changes and primary structure remains the same. Now students, the last point, that is the examples related to denaturations. So the most common example of denaturation of protein is coagulation of albumin. Okay, and which is present in the white part of egg. When egg is heated through boiling water, then soluble globular albumin get converted into fibrous protein. Water molecule present in these form H bond with protein. It is reversible process. So you can see the very best example, which is of albumin. And the second is when lactic acid is added in milk, it convert into curd. It is also irreversible process. So here are the examples of denaturation of protein. Here are the significance. So basically protein are used in synthesis of biomass, and protein help in the heating of damaged tissue. There are so many significances that it is required. They are also act as source of energy. They are the major source of energy. So this is about the examples and significance. And now students, there are some tests for proteins. The very important one, that is biuret test. So here protein is reacted with 10% aqueous NaOH warmed and followed by the copper sulfate solution dropwise. Then reddish violet color indicates peptide link. Okay, so it indicates there is a peptide link between the proteins. Okay, all protein gives this test. This is important, and it is named as biuret test. Other tests are not that much important. So this is all about today's lecture. Thank you.